Hello and welcome to the A Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Ameer Hamid. Joining me today will be Brant DeBow and Mauro Cesario.
Yo.
All right, so we have a little difficulty to get through in order to start this podcast. And Brant can't be with us for the entirety of the podcast. So what we'll do is record a conversation that we'll put at the back end. And then to start off, it'll be me and Mauro talking about football. Okay, so we had a very busy conference championship weekend. I think out of all the weekends that we've had multiple games, that might have been the best weekend we've had of football.
100%. Like the games, both of them went into overtime. You can't get anything better than that. They were right down to the wire all the way. I mean,
what more could you have asked for?
Yeah.
And the best part that I found from the weekend was so everyone makes fun of Drake because of the Drake curse and the fact that whatever team he roots for loses.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was so great, the photo that he posted the day before, whoever's playing this weekend, I'm sorry for rooting for you.
Yeah.
A picture or a sweater with all the 4 logos of the teams playing on the weekend. And I saw a bunch of captions afterwards. This guy really replaced guy with the N-word. This guy really gave us 2 overtime games. And I almost quoted him Drake died for our sins to give us some it was one of the most fascinating weekends, Sundays of football that we've had. Sure. Which game do you want to start with first? Let's go in order. Let's
go in order, but
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about in terms of both of them. They both have a very big storyline to it.
For sure.
Because of the result. So
yeah. With both being overtime games, I mean, there's so much to go through.
For sure.
Let's go
NFC?
Start. Yeah, let's go down to New Orleans in the Superdome. That game, I mean, it's always going to be barred by the one pass interference play.
Yep.
But
it was blatant, but I mean,
the Rams came back in that game. Am I correct? The Saints were controlling that game. Were they not?
For the most part, it was back and forth. They had a couple score leads,
mm-hmm.
and then they worked their way back, and
yeah, because it was 13-0.
Yeah.
And then it was 4th down in at the Rams 30-yard line.
Yeah.
And that's when they go for the fake punt.
Yeah.
And you would think, if
Old
they don't
Johnny
go for it there, could he not throw more of a perfect throw?
Oh, man.
It was beautiful. The route that Sam Shields ran was phenomenal. And the throw was impeccable.
Get yourself a punter who can do both.
Yeah, do it for the brand, man. Punters are people too, for real.
Yep.
But if they don't make that at that point, I like the mentality of it because you lose anyways. If you're down 13 in enemy, you're on the road.
Yeah.
If you're down 13 and they score another touchdown, make it 20-0, you're done already.
It's a bold move.
Exactly. So you have to make that move there. But the worst part is that it only yielded 3 points.
Yeah,
out of it.
It was only the field goal at the end there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks a lot better on paper, the fact that it was only a 13-10 game at halftime. But that was the game plan, really. Keep it within reach.
As long as they didn't let it get out of hand. The Rams, I guess, had it planned out where as long as they're in 10 points, they got something up their sleeve. Because, I saw the tweet from Sid Sixero where it's they basically played the majority of the game without Todd Gurley. And Sean McVay was able to muster up some sort of game plan that worked inevitably, and they were able to sneak out the win. And a lot of it came down to the play of C.J. Anderson and Jared Goff. In terms of carrying the workload, would have been his.
Yeah, you're right. The most fascinating part is that I said that Todd Gurley would need to have one of his Todd Gurley-esque games, 150, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns even, and that didn't happen. And even C.J. Anderson, I'm sure he was he wasn't even great too. His numbers, he was 16 carries for 44 yards. So, I mean, Todd Gurley only had 4 carries for 10 yards in the entire game.
Yeah.
If I had told you that they would combine for 54 yards rushing, we would have all suspected like a huge blowout in favor of the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I think Jared Goff was the difference in this game,
For sure.
with the sweet throw along the sidelines to Brandon Cooks. But the huge storyline is the fact that the running game wasn't even there. And looking forward to the Super Bowl, it makes me feel excited in a way that if that team has Goff playing at a really high level and can figure out their run game, it makes it a really fun matchup. But if they can't, I think New England just controls the ball.
New England
and
will do New England things.
Exact, dink and dunk.
But
and
I think that's the best part about this game was that like everybody was saying, oh, what's Goff gonna do? What's Goff gonna do? Like he's never been there before.
Yeah.
He's gonna be the guy that cracks.
Exactly.
He played really well.
Yeah, he played well. Like, what was the one interception? I can't. It was early on. It was off of Todd Gurley's hands and into Demario Davis's.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't even his fault. Now, should he be throwing a check down there? I mean, Gurley was clearly rattled that game, and I mean, New England doesn't have a great D line, but
they've got a good run defense. It was top 5 in the league, but I mean, clearly Gurley's not all that healthy then because that's back-to-back games.
I mean, you think he's not healthy, but
they'll come out with something after. I'm 100% sure of it. I mean, it might be a stretch, but I mean,
let's not talk too much about the Super Bowl matchup because we have a lot of time. And there's interesting aspects. Like I'm looking forward to the Rams corners against the New England wide receivers
for sure
because it's the best DB group that I think Brady's went up against this playoffs. Because he faced the Chargers have a good one too, but I think it's better. So coming down to the play.
Oh, we want to talk about the play.
I mean, what is there anything else you want to talk from halftime?
No, I think let's give it a go. Let's give our opinions on this because I think it's probably the most defining moment that will happen this entire playoffs. Unless the Super Bowl has got anything crazier in terms of a missed call, I think this is probably the biggest.
Well, we've had big calls in Super Bowls before, but not by referees. There was big calls by Pete Carroll to throw at the goal line.
Yeah.
Big calls by New England in their first Super Bowl against the Rams to not knee it out, to go for it and let Brady drive them down the field. So we've had coaches make big calls before, but never referees.
Never this big of an
that
impact
make
from
this much of a error and I mean the argument that he lost, maybe he wasn't focused at that time. Yeah, in my job, am I focused 100% of the time? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
But this beast is different. This is the NFL playoffs. Everyone's watching you. Millions of dollars are on the line. Careers are on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And to make that much of a blunder, I feel for the city of New Orleans. It's awful. I saw that today season ticket holder group for the Saints filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL and the referees for causing stress or against.
Yeah, did you see what Michael Thomas put out today?
Yeah,
that was big. Rule 17, Section 2, Article 3. Mm-hmm. States the commissioner's power under this subsection include the reversal of a game's result and rescheduling of a game, either from the beginning or from that point where there was an extraordinary act occurred. Is it a stretch? Like, I don't know. What's done is done, is it not? Like, I don't think anything is going to come of it, but I think there's a very, very valid point from the Saints.
Should they replay it? Yeah, I would say so. But I don't want them to. I mean, there's so many other times
where something's happened.
Something's happened and it's like, oh, well, if we just replay it and this result would be different, you know? I think it would just open Pandora's box and it would cause too much of a... It would make the future of, you know, what would the future hold, you know?
Yeah,
how many where do we stop, you know?
I think
how ridiculous would it be if like this weekend we go back to New Orleans and play out that last drive.
The last 3 minutes.
And there was mistakes by the Saints even on that very drive because they threw on first down and I'm pretty sure it was an incomplete pass.
That's right.
And they could have just ran the ball, and then maybe thrown it or run it on third down then, because then the clock would have been down, I think, to a minute something, and the Saints would have milked more of the clock. Which look, Patrick Mahomes can drive a team down in 40 seconds. Jared Goff, I don't feel as confident, and especially not if it was for a touchdown. So I think Peyton should be criticized for some of his blunders there, because I disagree with what he did. I mean, just like people will rag on Andy Reid because he's just not good in big games. I mean, look, Peyton wasn't right there. It's a matter of fact. Like, everyone knew that the Saints should just run.
Yeah,
the clock, win on a field goal. Well, like, a touchdown, is it great? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't guarantee you the win. It gets you
your
to
run
overtime.
game had been doing so well from that point. Like, from the beginning to that point, Alvin Kamara
was the best guy on that field.
Yeah, like, you'd think just keep pounding the ground, like, I don't know.
Pound the rock.
Ground game. Why not? It's been working this entire time. It's what's got you there.
Exactly. Yep.
Why stop now? I don't know. I think it was really questionable, especially on a first down right at the beginning of the drive. It's like, that's not part of the plan. I know that Sean Payton likes to be aggressive at very extreme and very odd times, but, like, that was, like, completely out of the blue.
You know what? This entire game, like, there was no rushing involved at all. Kamara and Ingram combined for 46 yards also. So, but it was Kamara in the pass game. You're just throwing him out in the flat. Why didn't you do that instead?
Yeah.
Why are you taking shots to... Who was the throw to? Was it Ted Ginn?
It might have been on a quick slant or something.
No, because it was an out route. The play that got the no flag. It was to Ted Ginn. Am I wrong? Either way, it wasn't to Thomas or Kamara. I don't think
it wasn't one of them. No, it might have been either Kirkpatrick.
Let your best players make plays. That's all you have to do, and they didn't do it there.
Who was the player that made that? Was it Ruby Coleman?
Yeah, Nickel Roby Coleman made the play there, and I loved his quotes after. Where he's just like, shit, yeah, I was just trying
it was definitely a PI, yeah. Like, they were saying it blatantly to them, and even Sean Payton's like, yeah, they told me they fucked up.
Yeah, they did, and look, it's something that's gonna haunt the Saints fans, Drew Brees, Sean Payton, for a long, long time, and it was a wheel route from the backfield to 11, which I'm sure is Ted Ginn, right?
I believe Ginn's 19.
No, Lewis.
Oh, Tommy Lee Lewis.
But why are you throwing to Lewis? Come on, like...
Because they wouldn't expect it at that point,
No, come on.
I don't know.
Come on.
You'd think you'd want it in Thomas or Kamara's hands at that point in the game, but Sean Payton, and I guess Drew Brees was...
And the worst part is, like, I'm rewatching the play. You're telling me if you throw to the outside shoulder there of Kamara, that he doesn't at least gain some yards?
Yeah.
Like, we're just watching the play right now. Look,
here.
He's coming in, but you throw him outside to the numbers there.
He can at least get 6 to 7 yards.
Yep.
But if also look there,
at the top of the screen there, right?
Yeah, like he's curls and
he could throw over here above and carry that
but if you
receiver.
Look, if Ruby Coleman is actually looking at the ball, that's a pick six.
Sure. But that's the thing with DBs in general. They don't turn around and look at the ball. It was the same thing in the New England game.
Yeah.
That if DBs literally just turn around, they get picks. It's the most fundamental rule of turn around and play the ball. If Coleman turns around there and plays the ball, it's not a PI.
No, it's not a PI. It's just he didn't even bother to look at the ball. He just knocked him on his ass, and he said, oh well.
Exactly.
Glad I didn't get flagged for that one.
Yeah, and it's just move on. So this opens Pandora's box. And should pass interference penalties be reviewable in games?
This is what my dad was saying. He said, okay, you do all these last-minute reviews in the final 2 minutes. Why don't you make every single play that is like game-changing and, a PI is, why don't you make it reviewable? And I think it should be.
So I disagree partially. But
Okay.
yeah, like because I think that's too many, and then it's no defined thing. I'm more in the camp of you should be able to argue a call either way with the coach's flag. It should be
Yeah.
able to any penalty called, any non-call, throw the flag. You go review it. Why
I
is that
agree
any
with that.
different?
I agree with that.
Give them an extra flag. So it's either I challenge the play like for a completed pass and all the other stuff,
All the others.
and just add in. You can also challenge penalties
Challenge penalties
and
challenge.
non-called penalties.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Like I think that looking at that,
but it shouldn't be on like hands to the face and like an offensive lineman. It should be like face mask. It should
like
be
contact
Exactly,
plays.
yeah, and
Especially the ones that you're going on a 35-yard pass downfield and he throws
Yep,
the flag and it's
and-
like, well, there's no contact. They're just jostling. Why are you throwing a
Absolutely,
flag? Like you should
absolutely.
be able.
Absolutely. So what I would say is that what you would challenge. I'm blanking here.
No, but I agree because like you have whatever time it was left in the game, and if you're Sean Payton, you're saying what the F is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
That's a blatant shot to. It was almost helmet to helmet. Like he knocked him
yeah.
clearly on his ass, not a look at the ball, not even attempting to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Throw the flag.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you want to keep the powers of the referee in their hands.
Yep.
They're there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to make it seem as if we're moving away from referees officiating the game. You want to keep it on the field. You want to limit as much as you can how many times you have to go to the booth and whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when it's game defining stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
you have to make sure the right call is made.
That should be included in the last 2 minutes when refs can stop the clock.
And
They can also look at plays for that also.
Yeah.
I see no flaw in this argument. But what they would have to do, some people are saying, is that they should have to view the plays at full speed. Because anything in slow motion changes it completely.
It changes the dynamic. I
So
100%
it would be in
agree.
favor of, like in contact plays, it would be in favor of the receiver. Or in slow motion, it would be in favor of the guy hitting him because it's slower and stuff.
Yeah.
So they should have to look at it in full speed. Well, there's people that argue that. I'm not really entirely sure. I don't really care either way. I just want the call to be right.
Yeah, that's
That's
what's
all I
most
care
important.
about. Like, some people are trying to argue it, and I think that something needs to change. But then it makes football. I understand the other side of the argument where it makes football so much more. It takes out a lot of the luster a little. In a way.
Because then everything's so letter of the law that there's no free-flowing play where everybody's trying to make sure that they're not screwing up.
And what any sport is trying to do is speed things up, not slow things.
Exactly. You have the more booth reviews and stuff like that. It's prolonging the game. It's
The same thing in
timeouts and
every
timeouts
sport.
and
Like
stuff
baseball
like that.
wants to their institute a pitch clock and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's a lot less. Go at your own pace, and now it's capitalize off of like TV revenue, commercial time, and all that stuff. So they want to include as many commercials as possible, but not slow down the pace of play to a point where fans are tuning out because it's so. It's just
It's
not.
stop,
There's no
start,
flow.
yeah.
There's no flow. So that call, we've made it. We've said our opinion on, the Saints didn't do right in that situation, and they didn't get helped out by a penalty that should have been called. We recognize that, but does that do the Saints then they would ice the game basically and
you
kick the field
put
goal?
them up 7 points.
Well, no, because it would have been a spot penalty, right?
Yeah, but
And then run.
you
and then-
run. You either kick the field goal with no time left, or else if you're Sean
Exactly.
McVay, maybe you let them score for a shot at
Which
driving
I
down
would
the
have probably
field.
done. Yeah, which I would have done because you're trying to.
It's Sean McVay.
Well, I mean, like,
yeah,
look, it just
any
makes
coach
sense.
would do
Yeah.
that.
Greg the Leg, 2 clutch kicks,
Yeah,
awesome. And like, we were talking about this. Let's not say that the Saints didn't have a shot to win it. They win the coin toss, which let me go into a little diatribe because we had one team win basically just because they won a flip of the coin.
Basically.
That is the most bullshit fucking rule in sports. That the fact that
100%.
you win a coin toss and that can determine whether or not you go to the Super Bowl or
you-
win the Super Bowl. It happened with the Patriots 2 years ago against Atlanta.
Yeah.
When they won the coin toss for overtime, Atlanta never saw the ball and they won. Now the argument that says, "Oh, well, don't let them score." Yeah, well, I just played 48 minutes or 60 minutes busting my ass, and the entire I did that 17 times this year plus three other playoff
Two or
games,
three.
and then preseason games, and then you're gonna take it away just because of a coin toss? Come on, man! That's not right. And then I feel for I don't feel for Saints fans in this scenario. I feel for them on the pass interference, but I feel for Chiefs fans. I feel for Falcons fans, even though I am a Tom Brady fanboy, and they came out on the best result. It's an absolute bullshit rule. Implement something along the lines of college football where both teams get possession.
Both teams got to be able to
I
play.
understand that you don't want it to be like a ridiculous score, but institute it where each team gets it at their 20-yard line, not their opponent's 20-yard line. So you have to drive the entire field, and whatever you come out with there is what you come out with.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that makes it a little bit more fair, because if you're a defense, you could be the best defense in the league for all that matters. You're going up against Tom Brady in overtime, and Tom Brady is Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. It's not a discussion.
No.
He's got
You're not
weapons.
getting that ball back.
Like, what are you supposed to do?
No.
Like, it's not fair.
No. And the Saints had a chance. Let's focus on
Yeah,
the
okay,
Saints,
let's
and then we'll go.
talk
And then we'll go.
Saints.
Like the Saints had their shot, and they blew it.
They threw a pick.
They blew it twice.
It was completely unforced. Like, he just forced it in there. It
Was it a pick?
Yeah.
Oh, he threw a pick to.
He threw a pick to. I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it might have been Peters or
John Johnson. I don't think it was. I don't.
Regardless of who it was like a completely unforced error. Like, he just forced it into a spot where it goes off his hands and it just falls into his lap. Like, it was a little bit high, the throw.
Mm-hmm.
Receiver gets a hand on it. I think it might have been either Thomas or Kamara. And it kind of just, it flubbed his hand and it just fell into the guy's hands. Like, it was brutal. You're thinking, Drew Brees is going to be a little bit more conservative, especially in that state of the game where, you're in your own end. Like, if it's...
Yeah, it was when Dante Fowler, he hit him on the arm, and then John, it was just floating up there. And
Yeah.
So, did the Saints get shafted? Yes, but you had your own shot to win
The
it.
defense held. Like, there's not that much to it. Like, It's not as if, the Rams got the field goal after when they shouldn't even have been able to got the shot at tying the game, and then they got the ball right away in overtime. No, their defense actually held against the Saints. And then won it because of the forced turnover.
For sure.
So, I mean, I'm a believer that even if they go on and beat Brady, this shouldn't have an asterisk beside it because, they got there only because of the PI that wasn't called. No, that stop in overtime is enough to win me over and say, yeah, they deserve to be there. I understand that it's a complete shaft on the part of the Saints that they didn't end up getting things called their way, but... At the end of the day, you come up clutch in overtime. Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be replayed because then you're shafting the Rams, who then, say if they win somehow again and they have to then play the Super Bowl the next weekend, get out of here. Come on, because they're not moving that. If Chick-fil-A won't open on Sunday for the Super Bowl in Atlanta, the NFL isn't going to replay a game.
Preach.
It's that simple. All right, let's move on to... the late night game on Sunday in Arrowhead, Chiefs, Pats, and this one early on should have and could have been a blowout quick. Brady throwing the interception in the end zone. All right, story time. I was on my break at work at the time, and I was in the lunchroom, and there's this big screen, and the game was on. So I was watching it, and they were at the goal line at the 1 or 2 yard line, and then they cut to commercial because it was the end of the first quarter. So then I'm like, okay, I've got to go back because my break's over. And when I come back, I see the Chiefs had the ball. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And then I see that Brady got intercepted. I'm like, what is going on? How could you make that much of a blunder?
It kind of scared me because I don't remember which player it was that intercepted it, but he started running out, and I'm like, kneel,
Yeah.
please don't be an idiot, kneel,
Yeah.
drop, go on the floor,
Yeah.
take the touchback, don't do
Yeah.
it.
So many
My
people
heart was
try to
like
be
actually
here.
like
Yeah.
beating so fast because like I'm a Giants fan. I've seen Tom Brady all too many times in the Super Bowl. I don't want to see it
But
again.
you've won every time.
That's another story I'd love to be able to touch later on in this segment.
We'll do
but
that
I mean, yeah, like that literally gave me the biggest nervous wreck of the game up until that point. Because, okay, what are you doing? Just drop. You should have dropped already.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give Tom Brady a chance, or at least don't put Mahomes on the 1 yard line. Drop.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big turning point in the game, just
sure.
because, that could have been 21-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
No, it would have been 14-0, and then the New
Okay.
England goes on to score afterwards. But yeah, like the game, because it was 14-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
The game would have essentially been over if it was 21-0. And the fact that, New England really blew this game in a way, like to even make it a game. Like they
I
let
think
up
so,
31 points in the second half. That's ridiculous.
Like, to be fair to Andy Reid, like, yeah, they didn't come out on top, but, like, you put up a 0 in the first half, and then you come out and you put up 31 points and keep up with the best team,
Yeah, like
franchise
for
of
sure.
all time.
That was the thing. Like, if I had told you one thing this season, would the Chiefs be held to 0 points at halftime? That would be a no-brainer. Of course they wouldn't. Like, what do you mean? This is the most explosive offense that we've seen. And the fact that they had a goose egg at halftime was astonishing. And the fact that they made it a game, it was dumbfounding because you expect the Patriots to just run clock, play smart. They're like it's the NFL team version of Alabama. Like,
Yeah.
you just expect them to be a pro-style team where they just
Like, I fully expected Tom Brady to literally get every single possession in the second half and just literally take off 7 minutes of the clock each and every time they had the ball.
Exactly. Yep. Like 7-minute drives. 8
Yeah, like literally just chip the dink-dunk West Coast offense that they've won with however many times now.
There's one controversial play in this game that I want to talk about.
Hold on, let me see. Is it a PI call?
No.
Okay, go for it.
The Julian Edelman touch or no touch.
Oh my God. I was losing my mind. I saw that play. I'm like, oh my God, he got it. He muffed it, and they go in for the touchdown. I was jumping up and down,
which was hilarious.
yelling.
Because, like, in the stadium, they don't know that, you can't advance a muff punt. So imagine them going from 7 seconds of just celebration, like, oh my God, we're winning.
Yeah.
And then not only can you not get a touchdown, it's under review. And because they're in the stadium, they just don't know.
Spot too. That's
and
killer.
then we get the review. And they're going through it, and there was this front-on angle where it's like, oh, it hit off of Edelman's
left thumb.
The left thumb.
The left thumb.
And then you look at it in the other review, and I'm like,
no,
there's a clearly gap of air. How the hell? I was like, I don't know how you reversed this. You called it a fumble on the field. This is definitely Chiefs ball. Like, I was confused. So I thought that it wasn't. I thought it was conclusive evidence that, like, you can't overturn that. I didn't see any way.
Yeah.
And yet they did. So.
Well,
Looking back on it, sure, it's the right call. But
my brother saw him. He looked at Edelman as soon as that play happened. He's like, yeah, this is not going to be a fumble. You do not make a stupid play in that point of the game, in this magnitude of a game, and you react like that saying, yeah, don't worry about it, guys. Unless he was 100% sure he didn't touch it.
Hey, I was making fun of Edelman because, do you know swimsuit or Victoria's Secret model Adriana Lima?
I can't say I do, but...
Okay, so she's a smoke show, right?
Okay,
She wanted to settle down. Look her up.
Okay.
While you do it.
Why not?
So she and Edelman were a thing.
What's the layman?
Adriana. Adriana. Not Lima.
Adriana.
There you
Irma.
So she won. Her and Edelman were together.
Well then.
Yeah, she is a huge model, one of the most famous models, and she and Edelman were a thing for a while, and then she wanted to settle down and have kids with him. Edelman told her no. He turned down her. How? So this man,
Well then.
he's a pretty confident guy. So when he knows he didn't touch it, I guess he
When
did.
he's confident about things, he'll tell the world about it.
Yeah, clearly. So yeah, and then we get into overtime, and man, this was, as you get older, people are supposed to decline. You're supposed to get worse by age. But I swear, man, Tom Brady is like as good as ever at some times. Like to make 3 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9 plays.
Oh my God! Don't get me started with those. Gronk.
And like Gronk, Edelman, fingered like.
Did you see Tony Romo calling every single play as it happened?
The fact that Tony
God.
Romo is so good. One, Moro's a Giants fan and he's loving him. And two, like Romo made Jim Nantz good, and I hated Jim Nantz. Maybe because it was Phil Simms also, because they were just boring together. But now Nantz and Romo, I am ecstatic that they're calling the Super Bowl.
I think it was a 3rd down or whatever it was, and he's like, "Oh, he's killing the play here. He's killing the play. They're gonna motion a guy out and they're gonna run it wide on the right side."
Mm-hmm.
Proceeds to run it on the right side, and I think that was the Sony Michel touchdown.
Yep.
On the 4th and 6, I think it was, or whatever, 4th and 1, and you went for 6 yards into the touchdown. And it's like, well, for fuck's sake, Tony, thanks. So maybe if you were working with Andy Reid over there, maybe you would have been able to stop it. Like, come on. Like,
I just love the fact that he's so energetic about it, and he's so it's so refreshing. And I think what was really apparent this weekend was the fact that Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, they're not. I used to really like them.
Yeah.
Like my rankings used to go of the 3 major guys, or I'll say 4 and throw ESPN in there. Number 1, NBC, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth.
I love Chris Collinsworth.
Them. They're like the voice.
Now here's a guy.
Yeah, him sliding in. Yeah. And number 2, well, this one was. A couple years ago it ended, but Mike Tirico and John Gruden I loved.
Oh yeah,
I love Tirico. And then 3 I would say Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, and then last was Nantz and Sims. I could not stand them, and now, I mean, they're because one is no longer existent. They've hopped over Buck and Aikman, and it's not even close.
I think Romo gives it a very unique perspective.
They're up there, because, challenging. Alan Chris.
I agree. Like Tony Romo, I've never liked him as a quarterback just because he was on a rival team. But I mean, as a broadcaster and like being completely objective, like he's good at calling the game and he's able to spot things when people shift things around in offense and give the viewer like that kind of insight that they probably wouldn't know if it were just anybody else commentating the game.
And he makes the game fun and young because like. Look, even Troy Aikman, how old is he? Like,
he's probably mid-50s to 60s.
I got it.
Okay, go for
it. Aikman's 52.
Yeah.
But he hasn't played in the NFL in, 15, 16, 17 years? I don't know.
Whatever it was, yeah.
When was the last time he played quarterback? I got it. Don't worry. But, like, he's been out of it for so long. The year 2000, it's been 19 years since he's played football. So... And we've had this big advancement in play calling, the spread systems, West Coast offense. Like the initial, like he wasn't around for all of this. He was watching it, announcing, but So Romo just has a way better perspective.
I think Aikman's there for name value. Like he had always been there for name value, but I think Tony Romo wasn't the best of the best during his time. Like he was a great.
Yeah, he's one of the QBs of the generation. Like he's like on. So if tier 1 is Brady is on his own.
Brady, then there's the Peyton.
Then Rodgers, Peyton, Breeze, and then under with Rivers, Roethlisberger. Aikman's Romo's better than Eli. We're gonna.
Don't get me started. I had a big work.
Eli Manning sucks. He's the worst.
If I had to go,
2 Super Bowl titles. Oh.
name me a quarterback who's beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl.
Well, that's not fair.
Name me a quarterback who's broken up a perfect season against the New England Patriots. Name me a quarterback. I'll give you one. Eli Manning. My levels are through the roof right now.
I hate Eli. He's boring. He's ugly.
Okay.
My mom, every time she sees Eli Manning, I'm like, oh, I love his name. I love Eli.
Elijah.
That's hilarious. That the fact his name is Elijah.
We had a big work debate about this. Is Eli Manning a Hall of Fame quarterback?
He is, but he shouldn't be. Fact.
Shouldn't he be on what basis?
He's not good.
He's top 10 in yards.
The yards don't matter.
I understand that. Okay, sure. But he's also a 2-time Super Bowl and 2-time Super Bowl
I don't
MVP.
care. I don't care.
What do you mean you don't care?
Okay, other than those 2 years, were you good?
No, but even those 2 years, they weren't the top seed. They were always a wild card team that you used to just pummel teams after with their defense and him throwing touchdowns.
Look, he couldn't even win the division. How can you get this wild card winning QB in the Super Bowl? I'm looking up his total wins because we were doing this. So Eli is 11th all time in wins. Wow. He also is barely over 500 in wins in his record. He has 116 wins and 106 losses. Yikes. No one else in the top 10, let's say, okay? Let's use that barometer. He would have the worst winning percentage. Right?
Okay.
Phillip Rivers has a better winning percentage. Who are quarterbacks below him? Matt Ryan has a better winning percentage.
Fair.
Aaron Rodgers has a better winning
How much of these numbers are...
Alex Smith has a better goddamn winning percentage than Eli Manning.
All very, very, very fair points. But do any of these players, have they ever been on as shit a team as the Giants were from the period of like 2013 to like 2019?
But
that O-line sucked.
Okay, it's not my fault. And he never... if you're a quarterback, how many years has Tom Brady had his shit O-line? He hasn't had the greatest O-line.
But Tom Brady plays in the best system that a quarterback could
ever play in.
But
that's a system. Who cares? Like, the Giants are this great organization. Ernie Accorsi, you know? Who was the GM before? Black guy. God damn it, I'm forgetting his name. They've had these... And they can't draft. You know, he loved me some Eric Flowers.
Oh, don't get me started with some of their draft picks. Very questionable draft picks.
It's like, and you tell me with a sane mind that any of these past years, you put Eli in a Jags uniform. Did the Jags win? The year with Bortles, you know? No, they don't. Eli's
probably not.
A difference maker.
No, like not at this day and
This
age.
is the Hall of Fame. This isn't the Hall of Very Good. Why are we talking about Eli Manning? Oh my God. What is going on? He's like... All right, we'll talk about this at another point. Okay. Did we talk about overtime yet, really? Not really. Tom Brady, he's a god. He's the greatest of all time.
Of any sport, I think, at this point.
You think so?
If he wins this Super Bowl, I think it solidifies it.
Because he would have the most of any player. The stat that I was dumbfounded in was the fact that Tom Brady has more Super Bowl appearances than any other franchise.
Best organization. That's
The
what's
Pittsburgh
crazy.
Steelers?
Which, yeah, I think it's the Steelers.
Yeah.
But I mean, you as a quarterback have more appearances than the next best organization. That's from whatever.
No, of any team, of all 31
all 31 other teams from start to finish of the NFL.
Unreal.
And how long has his career been? Since what, 1990 something?
Yep.
So in that 20 plus year
it's
period
19 years,
now,
I think.
19-year period.
Yeah.
He's now in his 8th. This is or 9th now.
He's been in the Super Bowl. I think it was 9 times in the last 18 years.
And you're telling me that the 31 other teams from I don't know, but I'm going to look it up. Whenever
The
the
50s?
NFL,
The 50s or something?
whenever the NFL was ever created,
50 something, because it's Super Bowl 53.
right? So we're now into,
Unreal.
that's craziness.
Ridiculous. Like, this is a stat that you would think, Super Bowls, when you're in like the 1, 2, 3 kind of era with the Packers winning and stuff like that, because there's not a lot of teams. You think that this is the stats like in the NBA when there's only 8 teams or 6 teams and Bill Russell and the Celtics won all those championships. That's like almost what Tom Brady is doing right now. And it's ridiculous. Is he the greatest? Is he the greatest singular football player ever?
How can you say no to that?
I know. It's incredible. Who would have thought?
I mean,
guy just has it all.
The guy's 41 years old, and he's been able to prolong his career this long and still play at a high level.
Yep.
They've played in now what I think it is 8 straight AFC championships.
Something like that. It's
3 straight Super Bowls. So you're telling me 39, 40, and 41 years old. This guy is still producing a top team. He's bringing a top team into the Super Bowl 3 times in a row. In what other league other than the NFL do you see a team make it to 3 straight?
Golden State.
That's not
LeBron James.
NBA doesn't count.
LeBron James.
NBA doesn't count.
LeBron's made it to 8 straight or 7 straight.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. None. Is that the answer you wanted?
That's what I wanted to
hear.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Got it. Good.
I mean,
Alabama. They make it a lot.
Oh, don't get me started. You and your Alabama.
That's my Kawhi laugh.
I mean, I don't know what's left to be said about this guy. Like, other than he's the GOAT and...
Hey, let's just let it be said. Tom Brady's the GOAT. And also, I'm the GOAT at predictions, Patriots in the Super Bowl. Who said that? This guy. And also, did any of the other guys have the Patriots or even the Rams in the Super Bowl? No. Just saying.
There we go.
Just saying.
I mean, not gonna lie, my bracket pools are looking pretty good. I did 3.
Yeah.
I took the Chiefs, took the Rams, and I took the Patriots.
Okay.
So as soon as that Rams game was over, I'm like, wow, this is looking real good. Because now I've got the 3 teams that are left as the 3 winners for my pools.
Yep.
So, I mean, as much as I hate Tom Brady, I'm not stupid enough to say, fuck you, Tom. I'm betting against you every single time. I've learned my lesson a couple of these times now that he's been to 8 straight championships and I don't know how many Super Bowls over the last 10 years, that I'll finally start putting money on him. And you bet I'm going to put money on him.
No, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. No.
It's a trap.
Yeah. Fact, you're just doing it because you hate Brady. You're going to root against him.
I mean, to be fair, if there is one kryptonite of Tom Brady, I would know what it is, and I'm not going to pursue it any further because I think we've exhausted the Giants more than enough times this segment. But, I don't know, did you want to get into Super Bowl predictions?
Let's save that. I think we should save it. Yeah. What else did we want to talk about this show?
Oh, yeah, we got another... I keep thinking that it's this weekend, but we got the Pro Bowl.
Exactly. So, we hope to get a podcast out on Saturday, and we can discuss in more detail. But even next Tuesday, we could talk about the Super Bowl and just have a Super Bowl related episode.
That would be fun.
This Saturday, we should talk about because MLB.com releases their top 100 baseball prospects, so that could be something we talk about. Yeah, Vlad's gonna be number 1. What up,
Vlad Guerrero Jr.
2 guys met him here. Not a big deal, because you met him, right?
I babysat him.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, didn't speak a lick of English, poor guy. I'm asking him, do you know
¿Por
any
qué
English?
Señor? Adios míos.
Hablo inglés, and he gives me he just looks and shrugs his shoulders like, nah, man. Poor guy was like 18 years old, and he's like, no. He's kind of just sitting at the table on his phone, and I'm like, poor guy.
Oh, man.
I love him, though.
Yeah. What is there anything else we got to talk about?
Did we want to get into the MLB Hall of Famers?
Yeah,
that was today.
Let's talk about it. So we had 4 inductees, correct? Mariano Rivera, Mike Mussina, Edgar Martinez, and Doc Holliday. So, no, I'm not a fan of Mike Mussina. That's the only one I have an exception with. Like, Edgar's bided his time, and I'm happy that a DH finally gone into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It would have been cool if David Ortiz was the first DH to get in.
That would have been a story.
Exactly. That would have been, rightfully a guy that getting into the Hall of Fame. But Edgar's bided his time, and he's well worth it. I don't think the vote total is out for the other guys. Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds being the two major ones. I think it's time for them to get in. I'm honestly very pro steroid guy, even though like everyone knows that they've done what they did. Guys like Manny Ramirez and Alex Rodriguez, I do believe that they belong in the Hall of Fame, but you can put an asterisk next to their name, but I think you let these guys play in your game. They should be allowed in the Hall of Fame because you let them do it. You let them get away with it.
You suffer the I'm with you on this too.
I've
always been a believer of it.
You're allowing writers to hold all the cards and protect the old timiness of the game.
Yeah.
And I just think it's time to move on. And I think with older writers getting out of the game of writing and the newer guard getting in, I think it'll lessen year by year. Like I don't think a guy like A-Rod or Manny, as we've seen, will get in on the first try.
Yeah.
Same like Barry and Roger. So it's going to take time, but I do believe that, I don't know if Manny will get in, but I do believe that, guys like Clemens and Bonds will get in either this year, next, or
if there was
in the
one
near
that you had
future.
to switch out then in one of their place, who would it be? Musina?
Musina, yeah, not even close. I disagree. I'd even maybe
think I
argue
was
Andy
reading
Pettit
it.
over him.
Whatever it was about
Also-
Mariano.
yeah,
He was like
so-
the first
so-
ever.
Mariano Rivera, I think he's one of the most beloved baseball players ever. Like I love him.
can't
As a
hate
kid,
him.
I rooted for the Yankees for a couple of years. Those were my dark days. The Jays sucked. I rooted for the Yankees. Mariano was one of my favorite players, so it's nice to see him get in. One of the nicest guys in the league, and it's a little surprising to see a closer get unanimously voted in, especially being
Yeah.
the first one. But if there was ever a guy to get in like that everyone could agree with,
But he was even loved
it was
world within the game. Like he
Yeah.
was well loved. Like
Yeah,
players
like
would
you-
approach him at All-Star games.
For
and,
sure,
Like
and-
just from a learning perspective, he was a great individual.
yeah, like you saw in that last All-Star game that he was playing in, all the guys come out of the dugout and just cheer him on. And,
Yeah.
I remember when Jeter and Pettit came out to get the ball from Mariano after his last game. Seeing Rivera cry on the mound because he pitched for I think 20-something years. Also, he was in his 40s when he retired. So to see that, no, you don't have to bother.
No,
with
I
him.
just wanted. Did he play his entire career with the Yankees?
Yes, yeah, because he came up as a starter, and then he switched to the pen after getting demoted, I think, to the minor leagues. It's a great story. The Hall of Fame, I think in baseball it really means something. I think they're the most
Five-time
select.
World Series.
Yep, they're the most selective guys that get in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I think basketball lets literally everyone in if they want to. The whole career of the Yankees, like the
That's
fact that he
crazy.
pitched before I was born for the Yankees until 2013, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And he was the best closer ever. I think that guys like Craig Kimbrell, who are other good closers, Kenley Jansen, like
even Chapman.
yeah, those are guys that could potentially contend for the all-time saves record, but I don't think
I don't
that
think.
any guy will, in the eyes of the public, should be looked at as a better closer than Mariano Rivera. He made closing pitching cool in a way, and the evolution of his cutter was the quarter, as you would call it, the quarter. The quarter is the pitch, he's forever known for. Yeah, I don't think there's much
Do you
more
want
to
to talk about Halliday just for a quick sec?
God, we gotta talk about Doc. I met Doc a couple of years ago. I'm sure you've met him.
He was one that I never actually got the chance to meet.
Man, I met him
unfortunately.
one year. He revisited the Rogers Center, and then I saw him, and that day that he died, like I remember I was getting emotional, like seeing it, and you're thinking of all like the great years
Yep.
that he had. Like I remember, I think I only got to see him like in person pitch once, but it was opening day, and they was wearing those powder blue throwbacks.
Oh man, I love
And they were
those powder
absolutely
blues.
beautiful. And I think they were facing the Red Sox, if I'm right. And he's the pitcher of like our childhood,
Oh, for sure.
and I think he's the greatest Blue Jay ever. I don't, and people contend Roberto Alomar, but he pitched for the Jays for 10 years. Alomar played for them for like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the fact that Doc was with us through thick and thin, and he
11
never
years.
was like made a stink about it, but he was like, if you could get me a contender, I would be appreciative.
Yeah.
And he never won the World Series, if I'm correct, but he had his chances, and I'm happy. I'm happy, that he got in on the first try. I'm not sure if he was alive if he would have gotten in on the first time.
I think it
But
has an impact.
I
But he
do
deserves it
think-
nonetheless.
Absolutely, but I think that the fact that he's passed away, it made it. I think he rightfully got inducted on the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Because baseball is so fickle that
Yeah.
they won't get elected. He's the workhorse of this generation. He was the last big innings eater guy. Him, Verlander early on, but I think he's the pitcher of my lifetime is definitely Doc Holliday.
Oh, for
What about
sure.
you?
Like I grew up playing MVP baseball 2003.
Oh yeah,
And he won his first Cy Young in 2003, so it was kind of that season. And like I just remember ripping that game for like my entire childhood, and he was like on the meter like 3/4 to like 4/5 full, and like there was nobody close on the team. So like his talent level compared to everybody else on that team was like night and day difference. So just knowing that as a kid and growing up watching him play, I'm kind of biased too in that respect, where like I saw him play and I'll say he's the best Blue Jay of all time just because he's the kind of guy you look up to as a kid. And
yeah, and
know.
like in fairness to us, like we never saw Robbie play. We never saw
yeah,
you
Joe
know,
Carter
exact-
and all the
all the other
back-to-back stuff.
yeah.
Like
Steve and other guys. Like we just never saw them. And Doc's the guy that we identify with. Like we grew up with shitty Blue Jays teams, but every fifth day we knew that Doc was going to the mound and he would
and
give
you
us a
actually
great
had a
performance.
legit chance to win.
He got us through the dark period of our days, and it really sucks that we were never good for Doc.
Yeah, that's one
that
thing.
would have, yeah. Even if it was with the Phillies, if I saw Doc win a ring, that would have been really cool. I think that's going to do it for us today on this episode. Oh, actually, we're going to kick it now to our previous conversation that we recorded with Brant about some NHL news. So we got Brant here, so let's talk hockey since that's what he does. Brant, what do you want to talk about?
I mean, there's a pretty big story going on right now that probably should be the lead of our thing, no?
What's that?
The Edmonton Oilers. Ever heard of them?
No,
Oh,
never.
they've done some interesting things in the last few days.
What's that?
So if you're Ameer and you're not following,
What do you mean? I know everything.
so
I'm trying to tee you up.
earlier in the year,
Yep.
Peter Chiarelli made a bold trade, getting rid of Ryan Strome, picking up Ryan Spooner.
Just got a thing for Ryans.
Yeah. Dumb trade at the time. Dumb trade to get Strome to begin with, but like everything was bad. Great. Was that Sunday night?
Yep.
Sunday night, they released both him and Ty Ratty. Thank you. So in a matter of 2 months, they gave up on the guy they got for Jordan Eberle.
Yeah,
So
basically
essentially,
they turned.
yeah.
It's like as if they released Jordan Eberle.
Yeah,
In a sense.
yeah. It was just a delayed release.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Ridiculous, because
Dumb.
even Ty Ratty, like he even had a lot of potential also, and I swear last
He
year
had
he put up
He
numbers.
had a huge preseason this year.
He had like 6 points in the first couple
Yeah.
games, then he got injured, and
Yeah.
then it all kind of just went downhill for him. So, I mean, obviously he couldn't bounce back from the injury. I mean, you're playing with McDavid, you should be able to put up points regardless.
For
but,
sure.
I mean, Draisaitl's the only player who's been able to do any sort of anything on that team aside from him and McDavid. So, I mean, It was only a matter of time. This wasn't a very well thought out process, in my opinion. It's just another Peter Chiarelli-ism. So
yeah, there's a lot of talk about Peter Chiarelli after, but on top of that, they added it's Mikko Koskinen, right?
yeah.
To a 3-year deal worth $4.5 million a year.
It's quite the raise, from
hefty.
I got sent a tweet. This is kind of interesting, right?
The cast-off team.
No. There's another one.
Okay.
So
I've seen this one.
Casey DeSmith in Pittsburgh, right?
Yep.
27 years old, 42 games played, .918 save percentage.
Sounds good.
Great.
Especially when goals are up this year.
Mikko Koskinen, 30 years old, 31 games played, .905 save percentage.
Okay.
DeSmith signed a couple weeks ago, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
For 3 years, 1.25 a year. Koskinen, 3 years, 4.5 a year.
So not only is Koskinen getting 4 times the amount,
he's worse.
He's
significantly.
Yeah.
like I know it's Pittsburgh and Edmonton.
Exactly.
So
it's not
defense isn't really that great.
But
still,
you're still overpaying.
You're getting $3 million more for a goalie that has a worse save percentage.
It was kind of like, it wasn't working out with Cam Talbot. And you've been adequate, so let's just pay you what we would have paid Cam Talbot if he was Cam Talbot.
Makes no sense to me, man. Like
it doesn't make sense that you're paying 2 goalies over $4+ million.
No.
I understand Talbot's expiring, but I mean,
he'll be gone at the end of the year, so that's not as big a deal. Koskinen's on a great deal right now, is he not?
It's $1 million, I think. Yeah.
I mean, a 905 was it 905? I said.
Yeah.
For $1 million, I'll take that any day.
Yeah.
Give him two. Give him 2.5. 2.5 fines. $4.5 million to be a backup.
Even 3 would have been. It wouldn't have been great. But if he's a starting goalie,
you're just going so far ahead of what you should be paying him. It's just dumb.
I don't know how they're letting Peter Chiarelli make signings now, like future signings. Not make current trades, because that's fine. Make current trades to make the Edmonton Oilers better.
Well, I don't.
But you're messing up the future and what the next GM is going to have to.
They're letting him stay. They're not getting rid of him. He's still under contract for a significant amount of time.
What good move has he made?
None. Not one. He signed McDavid. He re-signed McDavid.
Anybody with half a brain could have signed McDavid.
You just give him everything you got, and that's
give him
all
a blank check and
Yeah.
say, "Take what you want."
Do you want to hear his
the cast off? I have it pulled up.
Do you have it up to?
Yeah. So you want me to go through it, or you want to go through it?
It's up to you.
Okay.
I can't get mine to load. So.
First line, left wing, Taylor Hall.
Before you go through that, so there's a tweet that talks about everything Chiarelli has given up over the course of his...
in and out would be hilarious. Like in list,
yeah. Someone replied to that too. Like they said, what has he brought back for all these people? But essentially, it's just like between his time in Boston and Edmonton, there's a list of players that he's gotten rid of, and Ameer's got it.
In Chiarelli's defense, he hasn't traded away very many good
defense. Yeah, the defensive side's not good.
Except, I mean, in a way, Dougie Hamilton could be on here because they traded away the pick that ended up being, or something.
They also missed Jamie Benn.
But that was also a pick thing where Jamie Benn was a fifth round pick.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm happy that they actually didn't include that because that shouldn't be a negative on to Chiarelli. Taylor Hall, Tyler Seguin, Phil Kessel is the first line. Second line of Matthew Barzal, Benoit Pouliot, whatever, and Blake Wheeler.
Blake Wheeler, that's right.
And third line, Vladimir Sobotka, Rich Peverly, and Jordan Eberle.
Yeah.
And then the rest kind of really doesn't matter.
I mean, Chris Versteeg's on there. He was good in his time. UC Jokinen's had some big years. Who else?
I hated the
Teddy
Drake
Purcell's
deal.
fun. Yakupov doesn't matter. The Strome and Spooner things are hilarious.
The Strome, like, he downgraded with each move. I don't know how you could do that.
He just kept on getting worse.
Dumbfounding.
And then on the defensive side, like, Johnny Boychuk's a big one.
Yeah, but was it Johnny Boychuk at, like...
It was in his prime in Boston.
Okay, so
like,
then,
it wasn't,
that is... Yeah. Sure.
Justin Schultz got better when he left, but I think
that's not an...
that's just because Edmonton sucked.
Exactly.
Like, he looks better in Pittsburgh because it's Pittsburgh.
On Edmonton.
Yeah, Leafs greats, Matt Hunwick and Martin Marincin are on that list. Both the Weidmans are on that list. The goalies are fun.
It's just Tim Thomas.
Tim Thomas.
Yeah.
It's just he's done nothing right in either of his terms.
Well, I mean, Tim Thomas, like, he had him for while he was good.
At that point.
Yeah.
He was a political issue at that point.
And he didn't.
But
he wasn't good after.
Traded him at his peak,
right? But he wasn't good
sucked
after.
in. Was it Florida he went to?
I don't know.
I think it was Florida, but like.
I just didn't hear of him again.
Yeah, he fell apart, but he was old. But it's funny just looking at that list of guys that he could have had, and then he just handed off for nothing. It's trickling down though, and that's the problem.
Is there any, like? I think the only real news here, like, we all know that Chiarelli sucks.
Yeah.
We know that Chiarelli's bad.
Yeah.
We know he's the worst. I think we've talked about Chiarelli like already in like our short history. This isn't our first Chiarelli conversation.
It's bad that it's
the news is the McDavid comments.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can pull up the exact quote. But
well, we don't even need the exact.
Essentially,
it was, if you're in this room, it's basically conform or get out.
Yeah. Basically, because the reporter asked him something like, it was like, do you think something about from the outside, people not believing in this team or whatever?
Yeah.
And McDavid kind of came back with like, we need to believe in here, basically.
If you're on the team and you don't believe, then you can get GTFO.
Yeah, essentially what it was. Which is that's big when he's the captain, right? Yeah.
Who, McDavid?
McDavid has a C, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
He signed the C. He got the C after his first year.
Like, when your captain's saying that, it's kind of, that's worrisome in a way, because like there's obviously an issue there.
I think it was a snippy like remark saying it back from the reporter's question.
Yeah,
but also sure, is there frustration? What else hockey do we have to talk about? I have a baseball.
Before
aside.
we move on to that,
okay.
McDavid is looking beat up.
Yeah, I don't.
Like it's
not
toll.
A good flow and combo.
His beard sucks. His hair is
sucks.
awful.
It's the worst flow I've seen.
It's bad, man. He looks like
it like
his
parts
life's
in the
going
middle.
to shit in Edmonton.
It parts in the middle, and then it's like long but short.
It's like a mop, man. It's gross.
It's
not a good look for the poor guy.
No. Baseball aside.
Do you want to go? Do you want to go to the
16 years ago?
Yeah.
The Red Sox signed David Ortiz to a 1-year non-guaranteed deal.
1 year.
Non-guaranteed deal. Because remember after the
he was bad in the
Twins, exactly.
Right?
That's what I mean.
That's crazy.
So history.
That's nuts.
Literally defined that move.
Do you want to talk about Nylander a little bit?
Sure.
All right. Where do you want to go with it? He got demoted to the fourth line in the last game, which you don't like.
I can go off on Babs. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of Babs. Like, not that like tired of Babs like as I want him out. It's just like stop messing with everything.
Yeah.
Stop digging around. Like, you had them reunite in Tampa and you win in Tampa, and then the next night in Florida you switch the lines after two period.
He fucked with the lines in Tampa too, though. It's just
but you switched it back to Hyman, Matthews, Nylander,
and then he changed it in that game though. It was Matthews, Hyman, Brown. Right?
Like, why? It makes no sense to split up, put Nylander on the fourth line when he's a top 6 forward on this team.
Nylander on the fourth makes no sense to me. He has
to figure it out somehow.
I get that, but like it's not working. Nylander and Matthews is not working right now. They're both struggling hard.
How many games did they play together, though?
At least they've been together in parts of like 8. Full games, nobody's played with anyone full games except for Tavares and Marner, which is now done too. But
yeah,
like, see if I can find that thing you sent me.
Did they not do this with Marner last year though, where they stuck him on the fourth line? Like, I feel like it's the only way at this point.
And then, the worst part is in that game where Nylander was on the fourth line, he gets a primary point.
Yeah.
On a goal by
he looked great.
Dermott from Nylander and Go.
He looked great. He was flying. I don't think Matthews and Nylander are the play right now because they both can't find the net. So if you put them together, that's not a pretty combination. Especially Janssen's out now. You don't really have a winger to put with them.
All right, but the next output like that Babs could do, if he's really trying to shake things up, the mega death Mark Cadmore. Not Mark Cadmore.
Well, it's closer to that now, right? It's Marleau Matthews Marner as opposed to Kadri Marner.
No, what I want is Matthews.
Tavares?
No. Marner, Nylander.
Oh, you want the 3.
Like, just try something. If you're intent on trying something different.
Right now, the Leafs offense is like a scab. It's like, it'll heal if you let it just sit for a minute, but he just keeps picking at it. Like, he's picking away, and he's changing it up, and he keeps playing with it, and he keeps playing with it. It's not going to fix.
Yeah.
Like, you're not giving them any time to sit and figure it out with their line mates.
No, for sure. Like, small sample size, you can never indict someone for not yielding results because they just haven't had time to gel. Like, in hockey, chemistry is so important with, like, finding someone and finding a hole.
Yeah.
That if you're not giving them time, how will they ever get results?
Exactly.
Ever.
They can't gel as a line. There's no chemistry there, and anyone, like, it doesn't work.
No. So
it's clearly not working. Like,
so do you want to go through a hypothetical what you would want to see out of the Leafs, like in terms of lines?
I don't hate what they have going on now. Like, if you didn't see the lines, where are they here? Here.
Okay.
So they've got Hyman, Tavares, Kapanen, Marleau, Matthews, Marner, Brown, Kadri, Nylander, Lindholm, Gauthier, and then it'll be Trevor Moore when he comes up. So
Nylander's back on the third.
Nylander's on the third, which is fine. Kadri, Brown. Couple grindy guys,
fine.
get him the puck.
Fine, yeah.
To me, Tavares, Kapanen, and Hyman makes a ton of sense because
I agree.
Tavares drives lines. He always has in his career. Yeah. It's going to probably...
No, I don't have a problem with these lines now.
It'll probably cut his goal production.
Okay. Marlowe's on the wing of...
Yeah.
With
Marleau is... Or Matthews is centering Marleau and Marner.
Okay, so during our last class, Brant, I sent you an article by Sportsnet.
Did I read it?
That was 5 right-handed shot defensemen that the Leafs could consider.
Oh, before we even get to that, do you want to talk about the Leafs making progress on Matthews? Like, that's a big deal.
Let's talk about it
kind of quietly.
After. Because that's next season. Like,
all right.
So right-handed shot options. We talked about some of them,
Yeah.
I got Mark Pysyk right, and then he was in 31 Thoughts that he was available.
Yeah.
Radko Gudas was on there.
Shit.
Pietrangelo,
Parayko, Dougie Hamilton, Radko Gudas.
That's it.
Chris Tanev.
Yeah. Okay. Out of those, let's rank who we would. The likelihood.
Okay,
let's do who we would want, then likelihood.
Yeah.
So who would we want? Parayko won?
No.
Really?
Pietrangelo won.
No.
Yeah?
You have to give up way too much for Pietrangelo.
But who do you want?
No, it's just
I know. Okay, I don't want to make that
deal. This is just one. No, but this is just one. Like, if you could get any of them.
Then that's basically just who's the best player.
Yes, that's what I'm saying right now. Because it's 2 different ones.
Pietrangelo's the
Pietrangelo
leader. He's a better defender.
So Pietrangelo? Parayko?
Yeah.
Or Tanev?
If we're not considering his personality, maybe Dougie.
But that does have to be taken into consideration.
Well, that's what I mean.
I don't want to go there. Not Dougie.
So Parayko.
So then, probably Parayko.
So the 2 St. Louis guys.
And then I think it's got to be Dougie, man. Like
Dougie.
I don't really.
Dougie, Tanev, Radko.
Yeah. I don't want
this. Likelihood.
Tanev.
Tanev won?
I think so.
I think Tanev.
I don't know if Vancouver will be selling, but Tanev would be likely the number one because you're not going to have to give up a ton for them because they're kind of built for the future. They don't really need much more.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've got a lot coming up. They're probably going to be in the So that's the thing is you might have to take on one of those, which would suck.
That's another one.
But Brandon Sutter used to be good.
It's $4 million.
Yeah. If he can get back to what he was in, he was in Pittsburgh, but if he can get back to half of that, he'd be all right.
No. Bad deal.
No, so they don't need a lot of futures because they have have a young system coming up. So I mean, you might get Tanev cheaper than you're going to get Pietrangelo or Parayko.
Tanev's UFA this year, I think so. I'm like,
I can look it up, but
I know Pietrangelo for sure is either 1 or 2 more years.
No, Pietrangelo is 2. I think Tanev is a UFA.
He wasn't. Because they were talking about getting him last year, too.
That's what I mean. And he had 2 years last year. So this year he's a UFA.
He is... No. He signed through next year, too.
Okay.
But he has a modified no-trade clause, too.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
If that includes the Leafs or not.
No. So
If he
10
doesn't-
of 1.
If he doesn't want to come here, then you probably should.
No.
Give a shit.
Okay. 10 of 1.
Yeah.
Gudis 2?
No,
Of likelihood.
no, because I don't think Philly's selling. They
Really?
don't want to sell.
They're in
Look at
second
Philly's
last
team. Though.
place.
They should. I know, but they shouldn't be this bad.
Yeah.
Their team is good. I was saying this yesterday.
Who's
Like
good on their defense?
Gudis,
Provorov.
Gossesbear, Provorov.
But
They're
those
both
two are offensive.
Those are both
defense.
Okay, but you can-
fourth forwards in the
Then you
attack.
need Gudis. Like I just they. I'll
But
pull
as a
up their-
fit, I actually really like Gudis on the Leafs. Like, just the fact that he dummies
I don't
guys.
like Gudis. Oh, he's such a dickhead.
Who cares? He'd be our dickhead.
We have a dickhead. We can't have two
Who?
dickheads.
Who?
Kadri's the.
Kadri's
reigning
not a dickhead.
He's a
Slightly.
Dude.
Slightly.
People
Like
hate
we
him.
said on last week's
People
podcast,
hate him.
if Kadri had Wayne Simmons, Kadri would be so much more of an asshole. Such an asshole. Like, if you compare it from this and the upgrade that it would have been over Roman Polak last year, he's basically a souped-up Roman Polak.
Fair. So, Philly's got Provorov, Gossesbear, Sanheim, and Gudis all just hanging out right now.
Yeah. They have Haig. They have...
Yeah, Robert Hagg, Christian Folin.
Yeah.
Like,
They
a
have
good core,
defensemen,
man.
yeah.
but look at their four. This is why I don't think they're selling. Is like, so
On
tell me
paper,
what. Tell
I
me
know.
which. Tell me which one of these lines isn't
I know.
great. Like you got Giroux, Couturier, Konechny as your line one.
Good line.
Unreal. Oscar Lindblom, Nolan
Nope.
Patrick,
No. I think,
Jakub Voracek.
I think that's an overrated line.
Jakub Voracek has been consistently in the top.
And he hasn't been this
scoring.
year.
He hasn't.
No, he's
and
had an
Nolan
off year.
Patrick is
Overrated, but
yeah,
he's still
extremely overrated.
good. Still good.
Extremely
Okay.
overrated.
Dale Weiss, Jordan Wheel, Wayne Simmons. That's a fourth.
Wheel's
line,
not even
but-
on that team anymore.
Oh, they haven't updated this then.
No.
That was like last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Wheel's not on that team, right?
And
No, I
then
think
yeah,
you're
no,
right.
he got traded.
Arizona.
Yeah, because he just played the Leafs.
Yeah.
And then Scott Lawton, Yuri Laterra, and Nicholas Obey Kubel.
Yeah, they're not a
Their
good
top six is unreal.
Their top six is great.
So
But if
what-
they trade Simmons,
JVR's hurt too. I forgot to.
yeah, so then that's where Lindblom, they would put JV.
They're missing Michael Raffle, James Van Riemsdyk, Sam Morin. I mean, I don't see them selling. They didn't want to sell when
All right, more.
Hextall was his GM.
All right, you're out of this. Now.
I'm,
So
okay.
10 of 1. So
Yep.
Who would we say two?
You
Gudis?
said Gudis.
I'd say one of the.
I'd say
St. Louis guy?
Parayko,
one
probably
Parayko or Pietrangelo.
over Pietrangelo
You think Parayko's more likely to go than?
Pietrangelo.
I feel like the Blues are probably going to be more of sellers. They basically said everybody's available.
They're basically putting everyone on the block, and I think Parayko comes at a lower cost than.
So you guys
Pietrangelo.
both think Pietrangelo is less likely to leave?
Than Parayko.
Let's put it.
No,
this
he's going to
way.
leave. I just
Let's
don't
put
think
it
he's
this
going to
way.
come to the Leafs.
Both Tarasenko and Shen were reported to be
Yeah,
interested by the Bruins. If the Bruins make a move, if you're the Leafs, do you not have to do something big?
Yeah, you got to get both. You need Gudis then
Yeah,
because
he's a big body.
need such an Emmer effort.
He's a roughster.
You need such an Emmer effort like that can just dummy guys if they come and try to bother Matthews or Marner and
Yeah.
Nylander. So Tanev, Parayko, Gudis.
I'd go with Gudis. He's a stay-at-home guy. Like he's the kind of guy
That's
you
what I
need.
mean.
Like he's not a big name player, but like
everyone, we
he's-
have puck movers.
that's
in
exactly
theory,
the point.
But
You need guys that will stay literally in front of the net, block shots, log minutes, and basically do the dirty work that doesn't really get much attention. But that's the stuff that will win you those close games.
Yeah, because they're like guys like Tanev and Gudis. They're not well, maybe Tanev's more of a sexier name.
Yeah.
But Gudis isn't a sexy option by any means.
It opens up the field for guys like Gardner, for guys like Riley to really like let their offense roam free.
Exactly. Like I think the least they don't need the guys that they already have, and that's what people want. They need stay-at-home guys, which is like anti-21st century analytically like driven stuff. We need the old school kind of defenseman, which is hilarious. right?
It's true though. As funny as
The
it might
Leafs
be.
need more of stay-at-home guys. You know, your Pissick.
Yeah.
They don't need the puck movers. They
No.
literally all three left-handed options are puck movers.
Yeah.
Riley, Gardner, Dermott.
Mm-hmm.
Hainsey, let's say we move him down to third pair.
Yep.
Third pair. You get Pissick, Gudis. I'd like Gardner with Gudis.
I'd like Gardner with anyone that's not Nikita Zaitsev.
Yeah, sure.
I'd like Gardner with Hainsey at this point.
Yeah. You think we could con Philly into taking Zaitsev?
No. They have cap problems, I'm pretty sure.
If there's one team you could cop into taking Nikita Zaitsev,
Peter Chiarelli!
you read my mind.
Wasn't that the rumor, too? That they're looking at Zaitsev?
Are they actually? Don't
Yeah.
kid.
No, I'm pretty sure that's what the rumor was.
Oh wow.
What else?
I don't believe you.
The rumors I heard were a little extreme.
So then you think,
but-
so out of the five guys, is Tanev the least likely, or sorry, not Tanev, Pietrangelo the least likely?
I would say so, yeah. I'd say he's the least likely to come to the Leafs. He's probably top 2 to leave their team this year.
Yeah, like Dougie would be up there also. I would think.
I don't think Dougie's going anywhere, man.
I think he's got some problems in Carolina. Like they wouldn't have said he's on the market if there was.
But if he's got problems there, he's already had problems everywhere else.
Well,
Who's going
that's-
to want him?
a team that doesn't care.
You're
like
going to
a
have to
team-
care. If you're in a
you're
spot that you want to win, you're going to have to care.
No, but if you're a team that's like literally saying, "Hey, this is a franchise defenseman, who cares? We can sort it out," and willing to work on a big project that has the time, the cap space.
Yeah, like if the Leafs, even though Dougie's kind of the guy that we don't need, if the Leafs could, if the acquisition cost is the same amount as a Gudis or a Pissick, just get Dougie.
Just for the sake of buying low on him.
Yeah, it's just a better option, because you can always flip them later.
Yeah. If anyone takes him.
But the thing is, like, he's still a commodity either way. It's tough. Like, I hope that we at least get a right-handed D. One, preferably. I think what we'll see is those Michael Kempney type of guys. The guys that you don't really
hear
think
about.
exactly, you don't know about because they're not on your team.
Yeah.
It's just we can't identify them because we don't know them.
Yeah.
And
no
neither does
scout.
most of the media.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we have to discuss.
It's the Eastern
we have to
buyers.
discuss.
It's the Eastern buyers too, right? You don't really hear about Western Conference teams.
It's not
and
even
other
that.
stuff
Like, I think that
like the smaller market
so
teams.
many defensemen, like, they just go unnoticed because they don't put up.
Yeah,
major
if you're
points.
not Eric Carlson, Drew Doughty numbers, then
Exactly.
yeah.
For sure.
Fuck.
We should not eat while we do it.
Fucking starving.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
but you said you did want to get food.
I know, because I had to fly.
Anything else in hockey?
Yeah, something to do with Zaitsev, but I forgot what it was at this point. Oh, if you
My conversation with Craig Button about Zaitsev?
did you see the game where Gardner went down? Like the one
Colorado one?
Yeah, no, the one where they were missing Gardner, like last game.
No, I didn't.
You missed it. Okay,
Yeah.
so they paired Dermott with Zaitsev. Looked
Yeah.
a little bit better than Gardner Zaitsev.
Did it?
A little bit.
Interesting.
Not much. I mean, they still allowed a goal, and it was mostly Zaitsev's fault.
But I don't think that you can pair.
There's
Like, you can put Gardner on a third pair.
then put Zaitsev down to the third pair.
I don't think that. I think
You
that,
should, because he's the worst defender on the team. So put him down to the third.
But he's
Bring
also-
O's up to the second. Because O's and Marincin actually look fairly good for what they are.
Moritz is not bad, man.
No,
He's not.
he didn't look great, but
He's not bad.
No, I mean he's a fill-in guy,
He's
and
a
I don't
third
hate
pair
it.
plug.
But if you pair Gardner and Ozhiganov, why not? Like, I think it shores up the defense a little bit more, because then Gardner can
I
make
think
that
that
mistake
we would
and it
literally
doesn't
be in
matter.
the same scenario as like last year with paying Zaitsev after he puts up a good year.
But it's Dubas, not Lou, so maybe he doesn't make that stupid.
Yeah, did you hear?
extension.
I was listening to Justin Bourne and Ian Tulloch on the Leaf Geeks podcast.
Yeah.
And he was basically talking like that when he heard about that Lou was signing Zaitsev, to a long-term deal. He's just like, no.
Dubas would?
Yeah.
I believe.
Well, he's a stats guy, right? Like he's really analytics.
Well,
and
no,
all
because he
that.
was in the Marlies organization. Also, a conversation was when Carl Osner got hurt and Nate Schmidt was coming in, and Bourne was like, Dubas was like, fuck, because it was clearly an upgrade because Schmidt's fucking insane.
Yeah.
I told you, like, we probably talked about it before, like me and you, that when Nate Schmidt was exposed to the draft, I'm like, he had a 6 series against the Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably good. Why didn't we trade for him? Because he could play on the right side even as a left-handed shot.
Yeah.
There's also those options that the Leafs could explore. Those guys that play both sides,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Well, like Ron Haynes is one of those guys technically, right? Like he's
Yeah, but
a
he's not
left
one of the
side.
good
He's
guys.
not good at it.
Except he's like
But-
way past his prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I'm pretty sure they're tailoring Liljegren to do that.
I think
Liljegren is a right side.
But he's like, like they're letting him play both. I'm pretty
Why?
sure. I don't know.
That is literally the stupidest thing.
I
He
always
came
thought-
up as a left.
No, he's a right-handed. He
but
shoots
played-
right-handed.
But he played. I could have one of them plays left D.
But I
I
thought
think it would be
Liljegren was
Sandy.
always
Maybe-
No, it's Sandy
offensively
because
based.
Maybe it's
Sandy is left-handed shot. Yeah,
Matthews contract
sure.
could be coming.
Yep. What range would you be ecstatic in? What range would you be?
Ecstatic.
Oh.
11.
5 by 11. Wasn't he looking at 5?
I don't want 5. I don't want to walk
Give
into
me 8,
free
man.
agency. I don't want
I
to
thought
walk
he
into
was
free
looking for
agency.
5 so that way he
I
can
don't
get
wanna
it
walk
at
into-
27 and then get his big contract 5 years from
Well,
now.
at 27, I would rather pay him until he's 35 than if we have to pay him 8 and then another 8. You know what I mean? So that it would go until he's 38. I would rather that. So he's fucking himself over if he's doing that. He should get 8 now and then 8 later.
Yeah. Because 8 years will be 29.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You're gonna get another decent
There's-
deal after.
No, you're getting an 8-year deal still. If you're a
Brings you to
UFA,
37.
you're UFA. You're a
Brings you to
UFA.
37 years old.
Tavares got a deal.
Yeah, that's true.
What did Wheeler just get in terms of a year? Didn't he get like at least 5 years and he's like 32 years old? Right? Like people will still give you term even past age 30.
Which don't do that.
Which
Don't
it's
do that.
JVR just got 7 by.
Don't
7.
do that.
which
That
is-
JVR contract is bad.
Yeah, it looks really bad right now, especially because he's been hurt.
Yeah,
That's something you didn't really see from him though before. Like
Yeah, he
didn't
got
really
hurt
get
once.
all that much.
Wasn't it the year before Matthews that he got hurt?
I think so. And that was more of like a, you
Wheeler
know
got
what,
5.
you don't need to play this year. It's okay.
5 years, 41.25. So what is that? 6 a year? Or
it's almost
41.
just shy of
42.
7.
7? Yeah, So. it's pretty.
Yeah, I don't
pretty
hate that though.
Is there anything else in hockey?
8.25.
So, with Matthews,
Yeah,
11-year. What's Tavares? 11.
I think so.
Yep.
If he signs for Tavares, incredible.
I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah.
You-
If he signs under Tavares,
That's
Marry
it's
me.
not going to happen.
No.
Dubas is
If,
a
and
wizard.
if there's
he
anybody
does.
that would be able to do it, it would be Dubas. But I don't see
to
it
do it for the
happening.
good of the team.
Steve Yzerman.
Steve Yzerman.
The guy
Yeah.
was a wizard.
Um,
and
What would you be okay with?
13.
What's McDavid getting?
12.5.
Nope.
It's a different
Nope.
It's a percentage.
It's
Can't do
all
it.
about
It doesn't
percent
matter.
of the
It's the
cap.
percent of
It's
the
about
cap.
percent of the cap.
I can't do
you
it.
don't look at the number value.
Sid got
That's great,
8.75.
but look at the number
It's not
value.
McDavid.
Yeah, but Sid
not
got,
Sid either.
Sid got
No, but
17% of the cap
percentage-
at
no,
the
but
time he
percentage of the
signed.
cap. I'm not giving him the same percentage of the cap.
You're
as
not.
McDavid.
You're still giving him less, even at 13.
I'm still giving
because
him
the cap's
more.
gone up like $10 million.
But I'm giving. I can't justify.
It's not the dollar value.
I
It's the
can't.
percent per cap.
I can't do it. I can't.
No, you're wrong.
No, I'm not.
How many
Uh,
playoff appearances does McDavid have?
1.
How many
Does he
does
have one?
Matthews have?
Does he have 1?
Yeah, one, he was
McDavid's
there
won.
1 year.
Yeah.
He also won some series, so he's technically
Yeah.
played in more
Yeah, he's
series.
But he
played
also
in-
didn't.
But
show
he only
up.
carried the
But
team
he,
to
he also,
playoff
but he,
appearances.
but he also didn't show up in one of them.
He
In
was
my respectful
horrible.
opinion,
He was horrible.
You know who did show up?
Mitchell Marner.
No, Leon
He
Draisaitl.
did. And he made a ton of money because of it.
Uh,
I think we're kind of
we're good.
we're running
All right. So Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. You can check us out, theasports.com. We'll be back. Maybe we can record an episode on the weekend.
Hopefully we get one in on the weekend. I
mean, it'd be ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not, we'll see you Tuesday.
Exactly. Thanks for listening, guys. Peace.